The first thing they told me was to follow the rules. Not the usual, don't be late, or lock the doors when you leave. No, these rules were different. They were strange, unsettling, and more like warnings than instructions. I should have walked out right then, but I needed the job. It was a cold October night when I started my first shift at Willow Creek Public Library. The place had been around for over a century, a massive brick building with tall, arched windows and a Gothic look that made it seem more like a cathedral than a library. During the day, it was quiet. At night, it was something else entirely. The inside smelled of old paper and dust, the scent clinging to the air like a ghost of the past. Towering bookshelves stretched far beyond what seemed normal, forming narrow corridors that twisted and turned like a maze. The lights were dim, old-fashioned sconces giving off a yellowish glow that barely pushed back the shadows. I had expected to work with a few other people, but no. I was the only one on the night shift, Ms. Holloway, the head librarian, was waiting for me at the front desk. She was an older woman, thin, with deep lines around her eyes, as if she hadn't slept in years. Her expression was neutral, but something about the way she looked at me made my skin crawl. She didn't ask about my experience, or even my name. Instead, she handed me a folded piece of paper. "Read these," she said, her voice low and serious, "and follow them exactly." I unfolded the paper and read the title. Rules for the Night Librarian. 1. The library closes at 10 p.m. Once the doors are locked, do not let anyone in. No exceptions, ***. 2. The lights will flicker at exactly 11:13 p.m. Do not be alarmed. Do not move until they stop, ***. 3. If you hear breathing between the shelves but see no one, do not acknowledge it, ***. 4. Do not enter the archives in the basement. They have been locked for a reason, ***. 5. If you find a book that you don't remember shelving, return it immediately, ***. 6. At 3:15 a.m., a patron will come to check out a book. Do not make eye contact, ***. 7. If you hear your name whispered, leave immediately. Do not stop for anything, ***. I looked up at her, expecting a smirk, some sign that this was a joke. There wasn't one. "Is this serious?" I asked, forcing a laugh. Ms. Holloway didn't blink. "Do you want the job or not?" I hesitated. The rational part of me screamed that something was off, that I should just walk away. But the desperate part of me, the one that needed rent money, forced a smile. "Yeah," I said, folding the paper. "I'll follow the rules." Ms. Holloway sighed, as if she had already seen my answer coming. She muttered something under her breath, something I couldn't quite catch, then checked her watch. "Lock up at dawn," she said. "I'll see you tomorrow." Then she left, just like that. I spent the first hour walking the aisles, getting familiar with the place. The silence was heavier than I expected. Even the air felt thick, like the walls were pressing in just a little too much. Every now and then, I'd hear the faintest creak, the kind that makes you turn your head, expecting to see someone there. But there was never anyone. At 11:13 p.m., the lights flickered. I stopped moving, remembering Rule 2. For exactly 5 seconds, the library was plunged into darkness. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. The air felt colder. I swore I heard something shift in the distance, a soft rustling like pages turning on their own. Then, just as quickly, the lights came back. Everything was normal again. Or so I thought. That's when I heard it. A slow, deliberate breathing. Not mine. Not human. Coming from between the shelves. Close, ***. My hands tightened into fists. My mind raced back to Rule 3. If you hear breathing between the shelves but see no one, do not acknowledge it. I turned my back to the shelves and walked away. Slowly, the breathing continued for a few more seconds. Then it stopped. I tried to convince myself it was my imagination, that my mind was playing tricks on me. But when I got back to the desk, there was a book sitting there. I hadn't put it there, and the title sent a chill down my spine. The Lost Names. I had just broken Rule 5. The book shouldn't have been there. I knew that. I stood behind the front desk, staring at the leather-bound book as a chill ran down my spine. The cover was dark brown, worn at the edges, with no title except for 3 embossed words in gold. The Lost Names. I reached for it, hesitating. The leather felt too warm, like someone had just been holding it. My mind raced back to Rule 5. If you find a book that you don't remember shelving, return it immediately. I should have done it right then. Should have grabbed the book and put it back on the shelf. But I didn't. Instead, I opened it. The pages were yellowed and brittle, filled with names, thousands of them, written in perfect black ink. No dates, no explanations. Just names. Some were simple, some long and strange, but they all shared something that sent a shiver down my spine. Each name had a thin black line drawn through it. All except one. At the very bottom of the last page, written in faint, fresh ink, was a name that hadn't been crossed out yet. Ethan Carter. My hands trembled. That was my name. I snapped the book shut, my breath coming faster. My first instinct was to run, to grab my stuff and get the hell out of there. But I forced myself to think. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe Miss Holloway had put it there to mess with me. Or maybe someone else was in the library. I turned slowly, scanning the aisles. The shelves stretched high above me, their endless rows of books casting long shadows under the dim lights. Nothing. But the feeling was there. I wasn't alone. I put the book down and stepped away from the desk. I needed answers. Ms. Holloway had to know something about this. Maybe there was a reason she gave me those rules. Maybe it wasn't just weird superstition. I grabbed my phone and typed her a quick message. Hey, I found a book called The Lost Names that has my name in it. Is this some kind of test? I hit send. No response. The clock on the wall read 3:12 a.m. I frowned. Something tugged at the back of my mind. Then it hit me. Rule 6. At 3:15 a.m., a patron will come to check out a book. Do not make eye contact, asterisk, asterisk. I looked at my phone again. 3:13 a.m. My breath caught in my throat. The library was silent. Too silent. I moved back to the front desk, my pulse hammering. My hands shook as I grabbed the book, ready to shove it somewhere. Anywhere. But before I could move, the clock struck 3:15. And then I heard the footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Someone was walking toward the desk. My mouth went dry. I couldn't see them yet, but I felt them. The air grew heavy, pressing against my chest like an invisible weight. The footsteps stopped right in front of me. I swallowed hard, staring at the desk, at the book, at anything but what was standing there. Then, a hand reached forward, pale, long-fingered, nails too sharp, placing an old library card on the counter. It was worn, the name on it faded and unreadable. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then came the worst part. A voice, asterisk, asterisk, low and hollow, asterisk, asterisk, like wind through a hollow shell. I would like to check out a book. My hands gripped the desk, so tightly my knuckles turned white. I didn't answer, didn't move. The voice came again, closer this time. Librarian. I would like to check out a book. Something inside me screamed to look up. I almost did, but then, in the dim reflection of my computer screen, I saw it. A tall, faceless figure draped in tattered, old-fashioned clothes. Its body flickered at the edges, like it wasn't fully here. My stomach twisted. Do not make eye contact. I forced my hands to move, grabbing a random book from the desk and sliding it forward without looking up. The figure's hand twitched. Then, slowly, it took the book. For a long, terrible moment, it just stood there. Then, the footsteps started again. Walking away. I stayed frozen until the clock hit 3:16 a.m. And then, just like that, the air felt normal again. But as I finally let out a shaking breath, something caught my eye. The book it had taken. It was the same one that had appeared earlier. The Lost Names. And now, my name was crossed out. I didn't sleep after that. Even after the library felt normal again, even after the clock read 3:20 a.m., my body wouldn't stop trembling. I just sat there at the desk, staring at the empty space where the Lost Names had been. It was gone, and my name had been crossed out. I told myself I'd imagined it, that I was just exhausted, that I'd been alone in the library the entire time. But my gut told me otherwise. Something had been here. Something had taken my name. I forced myself to check my phone. Still no reply from Ms. Holloway. 3:27 a.m. I took a deep breath, rubbing my hands together to stop them from shaking. I had to do something. I had two choices. 1. Sit here until my shift was over and pretend none of this was happening. 2. Find out what the hell was going on before it got worse. I chose the second. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out from behind the desk. The library was huge, with long, dark aisles that seemed to stretch on forever. The old wooden floor creaked under my shoes as I moved cautiously toward the back section, where the restricted archives were. If there were answers, they'd be there. The deeper I went, the colder it got. The library was always chilly, but this was different. The kind of cold that seeped into your bones, that made your breath come out in pale mist even though there was no reason for it. Then I heard it. A whisper. Faint, distant. Just a breath of sound carried through the shelves. I froze. It wasn't my imagination. Someone was saying my name. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan. Asterisk, asterisk. My blood turned to ice. It came from the archives. I should have turned back. I should have run. But some twisted part of me needed to see, needed to know. I kept walking. The whispering grew louder. More urgent. More voices joined in. Asterisk, asterisk, overlapping, calling, hissing my name like a prayer. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan. Asterisk, asterisk. I rounded the corner and nearly dropped my flashlight. The restricted section was open. The heavy iron gate, always locked, always sealed, was hanging open just a crack. And from the darkness inside, the whispers crawled toward me. I should have turned around. I should have left the damn door alone. But I didn't. I reached out with a shaking hand and pushed it open. The room beyond was pitch black. My flashlight barely cut through the thick, suffocating darkness. The air smelled of old paper, dust, and something else. Something rotten. Asterisk, asterisk. I took a step inside. The whispers stopped. Silence pressed against my ears like a living thing. Then, a rustling sound. I turned my flashlight toward the back wall and nearly screamed. Books. Hundreds of books. And on every single page, a name was written. Not just written, asterisk, asterisk crossed out, asterisk, asterisk. I stumbled forward, running my fingers over the spines, my breath coming in shallow gasps. Some of the names looked centuries old, written in faded ink. Others were newer, too new. And then, on the very last shelf, I saw it. My name, written in black ink, a thin line drawn through it. No, 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 no. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. I reached out, my fingers hovering just above the ink. And then, the book moved. I yanked my hand back as the pages fluttered on their own, flipping wildly until they landed on a blank space. And then, a new name began to appear. Letter by letter, written by an unseen hand. I watched in horror as the ink formed into a name I recognized. Ms. Holloway. A cold dread settled in my stomach. She was next, and whatever had whispered my name in the dark, it was coming for her. I stood frozen, staring at Ms. Holloway's name as it etched itself onto the page. My breath came in short, panic gasps. The ink was still wet, glistening under my flashlight's beam. It looked alive, like something that had just crawled out of the dark. I wanted to close the book. I wanted to run. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. This wasn't just some old book. It was something else, something watching, something keeping a record. And now, it had chosen Miss Holloway. I forced myself to move, slamming the book shut and stumbling backward. My legs felt weak, my stomach twisting with a sickening dread. I had to warn her. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and dialed her number. Ring. The sound was deafening in the suffocating silence. Ring. Come on, pick up. Ring. My pulse pounded against my skull. I could still feel something lurking in the air, something watching from the shadows of the restricted section. Then, the ringing stopped. A soft click. Hello. Her voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. Ms. Holloway. I hissed, my voice cracking. Listen to me, some things. You opened it. She interrupted. I froze. How do you? You opened the book, didn't you? She said, her voice quieter now. You saw the names. My throat felt dry. What the hell is this, Miss Holloway? Why is your name? A deep, distorted whisper crackled through the phone, cutting me off. A whisper that wasn't hers. I jerked the phone away from my ear, my heart slamming against my ribs. The whisper was low, layered, unnatural, a chorus of voices speaking at once. I could barely make out the words. Asterisk, asterisk, too late, asterisk, asterisk. And then the line went dead. I stood there, gripping my phone, the silence pressing down like a weight. Miss Holloway knew about the book. She knew what it meant. And now she was in danger. I had to find her. Without thinking, I turned and ran back through the dark aisles, my flashlight bouncing wildly. The library felt different now, as if the walls had stretched, as if the rows of books had shifted. It was trying to keep me here, but I didn't stop. I reached the front desk and grabbed the old employee records book from the drawer, flipping through the pages until I found her address. She only lived a few blocks away. I could make it. I could warn her. Then the lights flickered. The air turned thick and heavy, like something was pressing against my chest. And behind me, I heard the sound of pages turning. Slow, deliberate. I turned my head, just enough to see the restricted section gate. It was open again, and in the darkness, something moved. Something tall. Something waiting. A voice slithered through the air, low and ancient, barely a breath above a whisper. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan, asterisk, asterisk. I ran. I didn't think. I didn't look back. I ran out of the library, bursting through the doors into the freezing night air. The cold felt sharp against my skin, my breath coming out in gasps as I sprinted down the empty street toward Miss Holloway's house. I didn't know if she was still alive. I didn't know if I could stop this. But one thing was clear. The library wasn't just haunted. It was cursed. And now, it had marked both of us. I ran through the empty streets, my breath burning in my lungs. The night air was sharp, but it couldn't chase away the cold feeling inside me. A feeling that something was following me. The farther I got from the library, the heavier my body felt. Like something unseen was pulling me back, clawing at my skin with invisible fingers. I pushed forward. Miss Holloway's house wasn't far, just a few more blocks. But as I ran, I noticed something. The streetlights ahead of me, asterisk, asterisk, they were going out, asterisk, asterisk. One by one, the bulbs flickered, then died, swallowed by an unnatural darkness. The shadows stretched, moving like they were alive. And then, footsteps. Slow, measured, right behind me. I didn't dare turn around. I just ran faster. When I reached Miss Holloway's house, my hands were shaking so hard I fumbled with the doorknob. I pounded against the door. Miss Holloway, it's me. Open up. Nothing. I tried again, harder this time. Please, you have to let me in. The door creaked open. I hesitated. The house was dark, too dark. I stepped inside, my heart hammering against my ribs. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of old books and dust. I shut the door behind me and took a shaky breath. Then I saw her. Miss Holloway was sitting in her armchair, a candle flickering beside her. Her hands were folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on me, like she had been waiting. You shouldn't have come, she said softly. Her voice was flat and motionless. I swallowed hard, still trying to catch my breath. You're on the list. Your name. It appeared in the book. She let out a long sigh. I know. Her calmness sent a chill down my spine. You knew? My voice cracked. Then why didn't you? Why didn't you warn me? She looked away, staring into the candlelight. Because there's no stopping it, Ethan. Her voice was barely a whisper. Once the book chooses a name, it's over. I shook my head. No, I refuse to accept that. There has to be a way, I said. Something we can do. She finally looked back at me, and in that moment, I saw something in her eyes. Asterisk, asterisk, guilt, asterisk, asterisk. She knew something. Something she hadn't told me. There's only one way to break the curse, she murmured. The air around us seemed to grow colder. I didn't like the way she said that. How? I asked. She hesitated. Then, she stood up and walked to the bookshelf. Her fingers traced the spines of the old books before she pulled one out. She turned to me, holding it out. It was the Lost Names. I flinched. Why do you have it? Her eyes darkened. Because I stole it. My breath caught in my throat. She exhaled, gripping the book tightly. Years ago, when I first started working at the library, I found this book, just like you did. I made the same mistake. I opened it. I saw the names. Her voice grew quiet. And then I saw mine. A shiver ran down my spine. But I did something no one else dared to do. She met my gaze. I took the book. I ran, and the library's curse followed me. My mind was racing. So the book, it's the source? She nodded. It's the contract the library doesn't kill randomly, Ethan. It chooses. It writes your name down, and the moment it does, your fate is sealed. I clenched my fists. Then we have to destroy it. She gave me a sad smile. I tried. She opened the book and flipped to the last page. I felt my stomach drop. The names were still there. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All crossed out. Except for two. Hers. And mine. I felt like the walls were closing in. There has to be another way, I said, my voice hoarse. Miss Holloway hesitated before speaking. There is, she admitted. I looked at her, waiting. Her fingers tightened around the book. You can replace your name. The room suddenly felt too small. What? I whispered. Her gaze was steady. You can remove your name from the list if you write someone else's in its place. I took a step back. No, it's the only way, she said, her voice firm. That's how I survived. That's why I'm still here. I stared at her in horror. She had done it. She had sacrificed someone else. That's why she was still alive. I shook my head. I can't do that. She took a slow breath. Then you'll die, Ethan. The candle flickered. The shadows around us seemed to shift. The book in her hands trembled, as if something inside it was alive. My chest felt tight. She stepped closer, holding out the pen. You have to choose. I looked down at the book. At my name. At hers. And I realized, this was never just about survival, It was about who I was willing to become. I stared at the pen, at the final choice. The library wanted a name. Would it be mine? Or someone else's? I took a deep breath and reached for the pen. The library is still there. It stands at the edge of town, just as it always has, its stone walls weathered by time. People pass by every day, unaware of what lurks inside, unaware of the rules. I haven't been back since that night. I don't think I ever will. I wake up to the sound of birds outside my window. The morning sun streams through the curtains, casting warm, golden light across my room. For a moment, I almost believe that everything is normal, that my life is still the same. But then I see it. The book. It sits on my desk, untouched since the night I made my choice. Its cover is the same, black leather, worn edges, no title, the weight of it presses down on me, even from across the room. I should have left it, should have burned it, but I couldn't, because deep down, I know the truth. The library doesn't let go. Not really. I made my choice. I won't say what I did. Some nights, I tell myself I did the right thing. Other nights, I wake up in a cold sweat, haunted by the name I saw vanish from the page. Miss Holloway was right. There's always a way out. But the cost is something you have to live with, or die with. I don't hear the whispers anymore. The shadows don't stretch toward me when I walk alone at night. But the book is still here, waiting, watching. And I know one day someone else will find it. Someone just like me, curious, unsuspecting. And when they do, they'll have to make their own final choice. Just like I did, just like we all do. The library never really loses. It just waits for the next name.